Yo, welcome to Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Qoncert app. The Qoncert app is an artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour and gives the fan the best shows, independent shows in the world. Today, I'm gonna give you some like a little bit of insight because I always hear I heard it the other day. An artist said I only open for national acts. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yo, that was one of the secret keys of my success in getting like money off music was I knew who would only open for national acts. And if that's what you choose to do, if that's what you choose to do, you better be in good with a national act or multiple national acts that they want to take you on tour or something like that. Because for you to make money only opening up for national acts, it's going to be hard. Because what happens is this. First off, it's not that many national acts that will be exactly your genre. So for you to get picked to be on national shows, the first step is that how many of your genre actually come to like your city or whatever, your state. So at that point, now you're playing a game of when they come, I have to get on the show. Now, this can become a money pit because a lot of these dudes that go on tour, especially I guess you can kind of say like the mid-tier type musicians, they're going to charge you to get on the shows. So they're going to charge you a pretty good amount possibly to get on the shows. If not, then you must know the bookers. So either let's say you might know some Live Nation bookers or AEG bookers or something like that, and they might help you get onto some of these shows, which more than likely they don't pay that much. So, because the basic gist is they spend the money on the national act. So unless you're almost a national act or of that caliber, then more than likely they're not going to pay for you that much for you to do these shows. Now, let's say there is some shows that come through. Inside this, you have to hope that every person that is either a manager that decides to agree to put an opener on their show. So then now you have these acts that already have openers on their shows. So for instance, if let's say you want to get on like, let's say Waka Flocka's touring and then he has two acts already on his tour. He's not going to have any other openers because they already chose the people that are going on the tour. So now when you start subtracting how many shows you're going to get versus how many shows you would need to survive off of music, this then becomes a hard situation because what I always tell people is you're looking at possibly having to do, let's say if you were strong in 10 cities. If you were strong in 10 cities, like let's say what I was at my peak. I was strong in 10 cities. I could do 10 cities once a quarter. So if you're saying once a quarter, I'm taking 1 month off and I'm probably doing those 10 shows over 2 months. So you're looking at 10 shows in 2 months. If anyone can pull off 10 shows in 2 months with all national shows, hey, you might be able to. And the only people I've ever seen kind of sort of do that, either put up the money for the national acts and they toured with them. Like I know a couple of big, like decent sized artists that did that. Like they put up money for the national act, and then they toured with the national act and made the money off the actual tour with using themselves. That's one. Or the person was just so well known that they got on every show at one point. And I don't know if that's even possible today. At this point, there was an artist here in Colorado that was just so well known. This is before I even did music. He was just so well known that he was actually on every national show that came through Colorado almost. And if you can live off that, like to where those promoters that are booking those shows are actually paying enough for you to live, because you gotta at least, let's say if you're doing 10, you have to at least be making 1,000 to 2,000 a night. And I don't know that many promoters that's going to pay an opening act. They might pay an opening band that much, but an opening act that's just one person, that's a rough one. If you can do it, by all means do it. You know what I'm saying? But personally, what I feel is a lot of people won't be able to live off that consistently. Because you would have to figure out how to just get that many shows, which to me is even harder than the idea of you opening for independent acts in your area until you get to the point where you're a headliner. And even when you're a headliner, you might want to open up for other acts. Like, I have no problem, and I probably at points have been the biggest artist in my state as far as like hip hop. And at those points, I felt like if there's another dude coming up that's dope and he's doing his thing, or woman or whoever is in their city and they're doing a thing, I'm going to go open for them. And I'm going to put on the show with me and them. And I'm going to let them headline the night. I have no problem still. If someone wants to come headline, like, see, that's an idea that people have created in the music industry that makes you feel some type of way that when you're independent, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like, when I'm doing numbers, it doesn't matter. It only matters to people that aren't doing numbers. Because, see, when I'm doing numbers, I know what's going to happen. Like, so I know my fans are going to come see me whether I go early or late. The problem is when people, the only reason people have that problem is because they kind of want to be like, I have to either be the headliner or next to the headliner. But I don't even know why like, it's kind of like, if you're not bringing people, no one's going to, you see what I'm saying? Like, no one's going to be like championing this piece. So the just as you have to bring people. And then so when you open, you're building that. You're trying to build that and trying to gain that situation if you don't already have it. Because otherwise you would just headline all the time anyway. So when you say you open for headliners, you're just telling me that you can't control your own fan base. It has to be someone else bringing them, which means that you're not really a headliner, which means you're not dope like you say you are, because there's kids that headline that actually do numbers themselves without the national act. That's all you're kind of telling me. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if the national act isn't around, do you actually have a fan base? Or are you just going and doing these shows with installed fan bases? Which is, as I've said in tons of other videos when I talk about big shows versus small shows, everything like that, this tells me that you more than likely haven't turned over any fans and you need the installed fan base. And that's what you think you're getting famous off of, but you're not really. You're just running in place. Hey, don't get me wrong. I've done a lot of national shows, but I know where to use them compared to with my fan base. And I explained this in one other video. Like, it gets to the point where you get booked on national shows because they know you're going to bring tons of people. You know what I'm saying? So they put you on shows because they're like, oh, they're going to bring tons of people, and the national can't fill it themselves. So I try to be like, hey, use it for like a power move to make people say, oh, you know what I'm saying? That's a dope look. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then I can still go off and headline myself, and I can still go off and open for somebody, and we both make it look crazy. So you know what I'm saying? Especially when I see some of these young dudes, like I see some of these young dudes doing their thing. There's some dope artists in my area. Like, I have no problem opening for them. I flew to, you know what I'm saying? I flew to Scottsdale, open for a young act out there. Before, back in my day, I've headlined in Scottsdale before myself, but hey, he's doing his thing out there. I can bring a couple fans myself. Let's put it together. I'm going to come out there and then I'll open for this independent act. And the crazy thing is, you probably get more fans from that because those independent acts, their fans are there for independent music. As I always say, they're there for independent music. So they're more than likely down to become your fan versus somebody who's there to see a big act. Like, ain't no little babies fans going to be like, yeah, let me listen to this dude that just opening the night up. That's old school stuff. That's like back in the day when there wasn't this much saturation of music. And if you were the opener, you seemed like a national act. It seemed like you got the clearance, or I guess you can kind of say like like they're kind of giving you the baton next as you're next or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So the cosign, they're giving you the cosign because you're on the show. Now it's so oversaturated, the cosign don't even matter. Hey, everyone on here that listens to this, definitely drop comments and tell me what subjects you'd like to hear me talk about. So I can make sure I'm getting to everybody that has some of these questions or whatever like that. So then I can answer those in some of the next videos coming up. Definitely get on the Qoncert app. Get on the Qoncert app now. That's what this is all about. So get on the Qoncert app. If we are in your city or state, then jump on the shows that are on there. If we aren't, then start telling everybody in your area to get onto the app so we can see that demand and we can get out there. Anybody that knows any venues, whether we're there or not there, let me know, because that either allows us to put on more shows or lets us get into the area to start putting on shows. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, this has been Music as a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and it's brought to you by the Qoncert app.